I think it's true for all photographers and artists in general that they want to improve. And with practice, dedication, and consistency, most do in the end improve, and then continue to do so. I don't really believe there is a ceiling for artists. If you keep going and adapting, you can always find ways to improve. I certainly don't feel as if I'm anywhere near my ceiling. And for the sake of this analogy, maybe this house has a few different ceilings, with different heights that represent different skills. Some are harder to achieve than others, but one doesn't exclude the other. Looking back on my photography, I consider myself to have improved in a few different ways. I think some artists struggle to validate their improvements when they can look back at some of their early work and still think that it's good. So if some of your early work still holds up, surely you haven't improved one bit. That's not the best approach if you ask me. Instead, I think it's totally natural to have a staggered line of growth. Sometimes your work is better than others, but gradually, the low end of that staggered line continues to get higher and higher. Saying you've improved as a photographer or artist in general shouldn't equal all my old work is trash, especially when you don't feel that way. So instead, you say you haven't improved at all and get stuck in a depressive rut of feeling like you're not good enough. That's sad, and unfortunately, I feel as if it is a major pitfall for so many talented artists who pressure themselves so much to show this vast, great improvement over time, but just don't feel like they've achieved it for whatever reason. When it comes to tracking your personal growth, I think it's most important to set personalized goals. Maybe it's about earning money or views, but all in all, that is a separate category from the photos you actually take. Focus on what type of images you want to capture, what styles or subjects, and build the skills you need to achieve that goal more consistently. Your goal can always change and evolve as you go, but find something that you can work towards when you're looking solely at your artwork. And if you have goals to work with a certain number of clients or reach a milestone in social interactions, that's okay too, but should live in a separate category in your mind, so as not to distract you from improving what you're actually wanting to share and how you're trying to achieve that vision or style you have. That's why today I want to discuss how I try to track my personal growth. Maybe this can help someone feel more confident in their own work and not stray too far from their own artistic expressions. So I like to look at set goals, comfort level, and vision, all of which I'm judging for myself. I'm not too worried about what other people's perspective is on it for me. After all, they're likely not privy to my goals, my comfort level, or my vision. When I look back at my very first photo album, I'm decently impressed with myself. They're not all great, and my workflow is certainly different now, but there are actually a good number of shots in there that I still enjoy to this day, a lot of which help form my current style. And maybe in some ways, if I didn't take some shots that day that I like as much as I do, I might not still be doing photography today. See, I started taking photos for personal reasons, and I'd been wanting to get into it for a while. I'd walk around and think, oh, that's a cool picture, but not have a camera to capture it. My phone just wouldn't cut it. So it was instantly validating that when I got my camera, I was able to capture some of those shots. And my goal became pretty clear. Capture the world as I see it. So how can I track my goal if it is so broad? I think the point of it is, in my case, to have a broad goal. I don't want my photography to narrow my focus on something specific, but rather to see more in my everyday surroundings. So my first several photo albums are heavily dominated by close-up shots. Flowers, leaves, and other miscellaneous things, and my only human subject was my wife. This ties directly into comfort level. It's adjacent to, but separate to, my goals as a photographer. And at the beginning, I was not super comfortable with my camera. I don't mean with using it, though there was a learning curve there as well. I mean, people would give me looks like, what is that guy doing over there? And I would get self-conscious. Or the world I was seeing around me involved a person, and I was uncomfortable taking a picture of a stranger without their consent. Therefore, with my comfort level, my goals were also hard to improve upon. So as time went on, and with encouragement from my wife, I gradually got a lot more comfortable with my camera. At first, I wouldn't even go out with my camera unless my wife was with me. Crazy, right? Now I go out by myself all the time. I was afraid of confrontation, I suppose. And really, I've only been confronted once. This guy thought it was weird that I was taking pictures at an empty sports complex, but once I explained to him that I was just practicing, he was like, well, free country, I guess, and left me alone. Every other interaction that I've had, which have been very few, have been, oh, what camera are you using? And when it comes to photographing other people, I have a few rules for myself as it is. I don't want to take advantage of people going through a distressing time, so I won't take pictures of a homeless person or someone else going through a hard time. And I also avoid taking pictures of children. I think their privacy should be respected. Actually, I really just try to take pictures of people's backs. Now, I have taken a few shots that involve children, but only their backs, and I'm just okay with it. I like the photo. I'm still on the fence on if I should have used it or not. So that's definitely a place where I can continue to track my personal growth. I will say, for the record, this rule applies to my photo albums and general portfolio. I have taken portraits of people for a work opportunity that is separate, and of course involved plenty of people who were consenting and happy to be in front of the camera. But with taking pictures of people's backs, I think there is a stylistic benefit to my goal in general. That it's easier for someone to put themselves in the shoes of someone they can't see than it is to someone they can see. So that helps me to add to my overall goal. I want people to feel present in and with certain photos I take. Weird goal maybe, but that facet also helps me achieve that broader goal of mine. Remember, we're in a house that has multiple ceilings. You can do more than just one thing. That's how I track my growth in terms of comfort level. Did I miss out on a few images that I thought would have been good, but I didn't take them because I was feeling awkward? Or did I go with the flow and take them anyway? So back to achieving my goals. It might be obvious now that it has more to do with capturing more of what I see, which ties into vision. So I suppose if I'm summing this all up, I track my personal growth based off how I'm able to achieve my goals. And two subcategories are how comfortable I feel and my vision. How can I possibly track my progress with vision? That seems like such a subjective thing to measure. Well, in looking at my older work and my work now, there's now a much stronger emphasis on wider shots than just using close-ups. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I should still take some close-up shots. I struggled at the beginning to capture what I felt like were good wide shots that weren't, just a jumbled mess. That is something I have actively pursued to change. To look at my surroundings and see the world in a wider scope and create more interesting compositions that way. Maybe it's a little hard to articulate, but I had to change the angle at which I viewed larger scenes in order to take better pictures of them. Maybe I also had to be a little patient sometimes and wait for something to happen, like a person walking in a frame, for instance. However I put it, it was hard for me to look at a street and see a picture, and therefore take a picture that captures the world that I saw. And now I'm able to do so a bit more. I now understand the angles I can capture with my camera and how that is different or similar to what I see with my normal human eye. And I understand that I need to position myself in a way that turns the mundane world into something that is a more compelling picture. This helps me outside of photography as well, of course, if that isn't already clear. Photography helps me see more beauty in the world around me, more stories, and it makes me more present. And therefore, when it comes to capturing the world I see around me, I'm seeing more of the world to capture. So yes, I definitely feel as if I've improved in my photography, but I'm not nearly done yet. I feel that I can do so much more. I track that growth by looking back and seeing the scope of what I captured and assessing it by how much of the world that I've captured from what I saw, by testing my comfort level in public situations or when people can see me. I mean, I went to a parade in my city and I barely got anything because I was too afraid of confrontation or to mess with people. And it was a hugely public event with cameras and media everywhere. And I also tracked my growth by reviewing my images and judging my vision to see where I might have improved or where I can improve in the future. I think it's important to not be too hard on yourself when judging your work and comparing to yourself. You always have the potential to make something great and terrible, but the goal is to try and make better things more consistently. And it takes time, and you're probably your own harshest critic. Like I said, I feel like I have a long way to go, but I think trying to stay positive with my outlook on my work just helps me reach new milestones in a healthy way. So I hope this video was helpful in some way. If anything, gave you an idea of how to constructively critique yourself. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. And if you want to see my work, you can follow me on Instagram at TonyKingPics or subscribe to my YouTube channel again because I post photo albums that have even more pictures that I take. So thanks for watching.